TIZZ TALK Podcast.
2, 1. Welcome, everybody, back to the TIZZ Talk Podcast. I am your host, Chucktizz, and this is TTP episode number 20, motherfucking 5. And I got my special guest, who's been on many shows with me, TooWokeToGoBroke, Tony T. Tony T, why don't you go ahead and say hello to everybody?
Yo, TooWokeToGoBroke here. What's up, everybody?
Are we sounding good, Tony?
We're sounding great on my end.
Me too. I just have a fucking fucked up feeling that, that when it's said and done, there might be a lag. But my internet is at full blast right now, so I don't think it should.
Yeah, we'll be good.
Cool. Well, TIZZ FAM, I know that I dropped an episode today, and it was called don't drink in pod. Piece of advice, because Tony, TooWoke, if you listen to the episode, you'll be like, what the fuck is going on? Now, I was cool, calm, and collected. It was everybody else. But anyways, TIZZ FAM, I know the last episode that we dropped was like completely chaotic, and we couldn't even get like any like valid information out. So I decided to call my buddy TooWokeToGoBroke if he had some time to go over some stuff, because I know that me and him have similar thoughts on things, and I want his opinion on some of this shit with this COVID-19. TooWoke, do you know what COVID-19 stands for?
Yeah.
Okay, spit it.
What is it? It's like coronavirus 19, isn't it? Isn't that what it stands for?
You're close. It's coronavirus disease -2019.
Okay, yeah.
So what a lot of people get fucked up is they think that there's only one coronavirus.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Yeah.
And this specific strand is coronavirus disease 2019. And what people don't understand, like, oh, we need to open up the government and we need to get the economy back up. I said, and dude, I'm all for that. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think some of this shit is a bunch of bullshit. But from the research that I've done, basically, there's so many different coronaviruses out there, but, I think the best way to compare this is to HIV. And the only reason I say that is because coronavirus is not very deadly, but it's very contagious.
Yeah.
And if you look on a chart, I mean, yes, HIV is very deadly. Or it can be, but it's gotten better with modern medicine.
Especially used to be very, very
right, and it was also very contagious and very deadly. What I found out was that these viruses, these diseases, they'd love to tack on to host that it doesn't kill them so fast. Yeah. Because like Ebola, like you get Ebola, you're pretty much dead quickly, and nobody wants to be around you, and it's not going to spread. Now, the scary thing about this COVID-19 is, you don't know you have it sometimes, and it's not that deadly. It's only deadly to people with underlying conditions or older people.
Yeah.
And so I was watching this video, and basically, I mean, it's scary. I mean, the U.S. is taking the biggest hit. I mean, when we were doing these pods in January, we were making fun of it, right? Now we're the biggest hit country. We're almost at 100. We're almost at 100,000 deaths.
Yeah,
it's fucked up.
And we've really just begun. And I think I mean, don't you think that we've just begun, really?
Well, I mean, look at the Spanish flu of 1918. Mm-hmm. Look what happened, they call that, okay, well, they call the swine flu H1N1, but the swine flu was H1. The swine flu was it's almost the same thing as the Spanish flu. It's the same strand. It's almost the same strand. The swine flu H1N1.
You're right.
Which
I got that actually.
Yeah, in 2009.
And that was the sickest I've ever been in my life.
Was that in 09?
I believe so. I was in college.
Because 09 is when it hit.
It was my senior year, so that would make sense. Yeah, man, it was
or something like that, right? So around that time.
I want to say you're right. It was, man, dude. I didn't even go to the doctor. I just wrote it out by myself. I had a little.
But that's the thing is when you're young, and you're gonna survive it. Most likely.
If I had been 80 years old when I got that, I probably would have died. Yeah.
Or had underlying health conditions or whatever. I get that. I understand that 100%. Now I was reading something interesting and I was watching something interesting. So the H1N1 is basically the same thing as Spanish flu, which started in Kansas. And the hardest hit places in the United States in 1918 was Philadelphia and St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know how Philadelphia people are. They like to fucking go out and fucking raise havoc and go in public. So what happened, and this is a little bit scary. And I don't believe the mainstream media. I use it as a baseline and be like, okay, this is what they're saying. I go do my own due diligence, right? But I do know a lot about the 1918 Spanish flu. I don't know why they called it Spanish flu when they said it came from Kansas, but it doesn't matter. In 1918 it was bad, and then it kind of flattened, right? And the next winter came of 1919, and it came back with a vengeance and killed 5% of the world population back then, which was about 1.5 billion.
At least 5%.
At least. So we're talking at least 50 to 70 million people.
Yeah.
So the scary thing is if with people going back out, and I'm all for it, man. I want to get back to work, but the scary thing is in the summertime they say the shit settles to the ground and stuff. This, that, and the other, cool. But when the winter comes of 2021 or this coming winter, if it comes back like it did because in the Spanish flu, when it came back in a vengeance in 1919.
If I may quickly interject.
Yes.
That's typically how all diseases are. They're worse the second year.
Right.
Than they are the first year. Yeah.
Right. And so that's what's kind of scary about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it kind of makes sense if you think about it, because the first year you started with literally one person, right?
Right.
You started with one guy who spread it, right? And then year two, you've got pockets of people who still have it. So it starts, from a much bigger pool. You're exponentially starting at a higher number, year two.
And it could mutate and become more deadly.
It sure could, yeah.
That's terrifying.
Well, here's one kind of interesting thing to me is, this virus hasn't been around all that long. Yet we already have two main strains of it. There's the European version, which all started in China, but the people who went to Europe, it already mutated a different way than the people who went from China to the States.
Yeah, because I've been seeing articles about young children getting these weird cases,
rashes,
or something, So it's kind of terrifying. In my opinion, I know a lot of states in the country in the U.S. want to get the economy back together. I get that. I'm all for it. But what people don't realize is, if this is real as they make it seem to be, Dr. fucking Fauci, I don't know what to think about that guy. I think he's a brilliant man, but does he have alternative motives. I don't know. But what I'm getting at is if it comes back, it will come back with a vengeance, and I think it might affect younger people like us.
It definitely could. I mean, it could get weaker. It could get stronger. Nobody.
We don't know.
knows
It's uncharted territories. Yeah. We're in uncharted territories. Nobody knows.
We sure are. And I think that, there is a narrative at play, like you're saying. It's like they're trying. Usually, the government tries to downplay things. And in this case,
the media ain't downplaying shit.
No, and in this case, they're really up. They're up in the ante and trying to freak everybody
out.
I
mean, the media has caused such a frenzy over this, and they want people to stay at home, and they want people to continue to watch the news because that's how they make money.
Exactly. And here's the other thing, though, is like, if you're going to cost the people in your state this much money as this has, I mean, this has been,
well, it's a ripple. It's like a domino ripple effect. I mean,
and we've only seen the very beginning,
Oh, Tony. TooWoke. This is going to go on till 2022. Yeah, at the very earliest. I mean, it could go longer. I mean, I don't know.
But here's the thing that is really it's mind-boggling to me how we can be so stupid. Is like, okay, New York's having a bad outbreak, right?
Well, they got slammed.
Well, so New York needed to shut down, right?
Yeah, I have clients there. I was just on the phone with the guy my president of a company I'm doing a deal with, and he retreated to Florida. He's like, I'm getting the fuck out of New York because he had 10 employees test positive for it and 18 friends. None of them died, but still.
Yeah, you just don't want any part of it, and you don't want to be one of the first people to get a disease. I mean, you don't know if it's going to affect you 5 years down the line. We don't know.
Well, that's why I said this is uncharted waters. We haven't seen anything like this. And TIZZ FAM, I know I don't really get too deep on what I do for a living, but I will kind of spill some beans here. Let's just say I'm involved in the real estate world and not residential. Let's call it commercial. I don't care. What I'm getting at is I've had a lot of deals on the table where I could have made a lot of money, and then all of a sudden this hit, and now they've all decided to pull out.
Yes, I'm in residential, and I've lost 2 deals.
I've lost 7.
They actually made
7. They're sitting on their hands.
Sure, their table. Yeah. Here's the thing, though, is we actually in the state of Tennessee. You used to have a real reason to get out of a contract. Well, over the last month or two, there's now a form where people could back out of the contract due to coronavirus.
Well, it's called force majeure.
Yeah. Well, they actually had a form that they made up for it.
Oh, really? Well, that I guess commercial and residential have different ways of looking at things.
Well, every state's different too, but they had a thing for, I don't think it's still going, but for about 2 months there, you could literally back out of a deal, not lose your earnest money due to COVID-19.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I haven't spent a dime on my debit card. I put cash aside. I put some in these. Did you see what gold did the other day? It was up 10%.
No, I know it's nuts, man. The smart money is, I mean, look, the repercussions of this have not even hit.
No. There's always a lapse. It's like a 4 to 6 months lapse. But
it's hitting Main Street. But what a lot of people don't realize, and maybe you're up on things a little more economically, so you probably know this, but we were already in the midst of a bubble bursting. The S&P 500 was already going down before this happened. Mm-hmm. The Dow still was holding strong, but all your S&P 500 was already going down, and then this happened, and now we've bolstered it up with all this money. We've created a double super bubble that's gonna pop in a year.
Well, are you talking about like the $1 trillion stimulus checks they put out?
I'm talking about the $3 trillion, and now they're talking about spending another $3
trillion.
trillion.
I mean,
that's all just
Well,
to
no.
hold up.
It's gonna, dude. The American dollar is going to the inflation, and we're talking about a 30% loss of value of the.
Yeah.
And the fucked up thing is you know they're relying on the Federal Reserve, which is owned by the Rothschilds, which is not an American institution. It's a business. Why are they controlling money?
Well, here's the other deal is, I mean, to be honest, the Fed has done a decent job throughout the years.
They have, but they're not.
No, I agree. They're not really beholden. But here's the deal. Here's the scary part about the Fed right now is they're acting in a more politically motivated way than we've seen in the past.
Because they've never. When was the last time that they were so willing to cut interest rates to the point where they're at right now?
Exactly. And that was before this happened. We were already at zero, basically. You can't do anything when you're at zero. There's no tools in your toolbox left except print money, print more money.
Which at the end, it deflates our dollar. The American dollar value is not going to be worth. And I even said, man, this might be a good time to start trading currencies.
Yeah, if you are sitting on cash right now, people, you need to be putting it into an appreciating asset. You are foolish if you do not, because you are going to lose your savings by.
Oh, I took a majority of my money out of the bank account in cash and put it in a safe deposit box.
So for the most part, but that same cash, as you know, is going to be worth
right. Well, I pulled it out just in case because.
So you can make a move if you need
to.
Yeah.
I just didn't want it sitting in the bank.
Well, here's the other deal, though, is like you said, their interest rates are already at zero.
Well, they're like 0 or like 0.25 or whatever.
But I mean, yeah. I mean, to the point where if you dropped it, it's not going to affect it. It's not going to have much effect on a counterbalance.
Yeah, no, I know. But I just think the whole Federal Reserve thing is crazy how it's not. We rely on it, and it all started when they took the gold standard off with Nixon.
Oh, of course, and it started before that, with Woodrow Wilson, and but here's my thought process is, I mean, I'm not like I've said on your show before, I'm not a Trump hater, but I'm not a Trump.
Well, I mean, me and you obviously have the same opinion about him.
But here's the deal: is right now, if I believe, I'm not a conspiracy nut, but there are times when you need to be open minded to what.
Well, because the real conspiracy theories are the fucking mainstream media.
The powerful, exactly, but the powerful people, I truly believe, they love Trump because he's the biggest distraction. What's the best way to keep people uninformed and not worried about the real issues is distraction, and distraction. Trump is a weapon of mass distraction. And so I think the people who really
the puppet strings, the people behind the people behind the curtains, the global elite.
We're pumping money into this market so that it'll stay bolstered and he can win again. And everybody can be distracted for another.
So let me ask you, I mean, do you think Trump is a good thing for us or a bad?
I think he's really bad.
I just think he's a businessman, and it's like he didn't know what to do because nobody's dealt with this shit before.
Well, here's the deal. Like I said, I'm not a Trump hater, but the fact is he has gone bankrupt a couple times.
Oh my God. Right? Yeah, I know.
Because
look what he did to Taj Mahal.
Well, but hear me out. He's not a risk averse guy, right? He's a very he's a risk taker, okay? And to people think, oh, he's going to run the country like a business. Well, yeah, in theory that can sound good. It has a good ring to it, right? But you don't want, if your country goes fucking bankrupt, there ain't no Chapter 11 come back, see you next year, and I'll be back better.
No. There's no bailouts here. There's no bailout. Who are you bailing out? And I'll TIZZ FAM. I'll spell it out for you in like a 30-second segment right now. I'm going to tell you right now. it's a ripple effect. When retail got hit the hardest, okay?
Yes.
When they can't pay their rent, and a lot of landlords might be willing to, work with them, right? But a lot of these landlord retail they don't own their fucking shopping centers cash. They have a loan on it, right? So if they can't fucking pay their loan, then the ripple effect transfers to the bank. And it just goes on and on from there. And so we've already seen the highest unemployment rate in U.S. history since the Depression, if it hasn't surpassed it already. And it's really disturbing to me because, like, let's just say this lasted 3 weeks, but it's lasted longer. But just a month of retail companies not being able to pay their rent and then the landlord not being able to pay their loan, that causes a ripple effect. And the banks that, support, that give those loans, and this goes back to the force majeure, which is quote unquote called an act of God or whatever you want to believe. Basically, there is no bailout here, but they're giving companies some kind of leeway. Now
big companies.
That's the most fucked up thing is cool, I got a $1,200 check, but they're gonna fucking give a shit ton of money to these big ass companies that don't deserve it.
Yes, exactly. And here's where the disconnect is, right? And here's where the media and the narrative comes into play is like people won't question any aspect of the coronavirus. You don't have to think. I don't think the coronavirus is fake, and I don't think that it was the coronavirus itself doesn't have to be a conspiracy for other issues to be taking place for them to use it.
Yeah.
Right. To create other things. So right now they're dumping money into all these big ass companies. Meanwhile, me and you, John Q. Public is getting fucking bent over no lube.
Bent over no lube.
And people are taking it. And people
well, dude, I got my stimulus check. I mean, I took it.
Well, that was a payoff. And that's what that was. That was a payoff to tell everybody, shut the fuck up.
It's $1,200. That's fucking rent. I mean, that's nothing. I mean, that's not going to save anybody.
The $1,200 was less than a third of the bill. I mean, that was a few $100 billion. There was $3 trillion.
No, I know. The rest of the money went to the corporations, man. And and those are the last people that need it because they can survive this. Why are we giving them? Why are we giving them? I mean, it's almost like you can call it a bailout, but it's really not because there really is no way to bail out of this situation across the board, from industrial to office to residential to retail. It's all fucked. And
people don't realize the middle class spending, consumer spending is the engine of our economy. Of course it is. And when you take and here's the beauty of what I do right now. I'm in residential real estate, but I deal with a wide range of income levels. I deal with really high net worth individuals, and I deal with some low net worth individuals who are buying their first home, right? It's just, I work with a real successful broker, so I deal with a lot of his high-end clients, but I also deal with a lot of, people buying a $250,000 house, as well as people buying a $2 million house, right? And it's funny, a lot of the times I hear the broke people that I know their finances, right? I help them with the
so you get involved with the banks and all that to help them.
Well, I know their finances because I have to talk to them and what loan is best for you. What are the,
Well, I mean, I don't know, Tony. Well, I mean, TooWoke, I do the same thing with my clients.
No, but here's my point. Here's my point: is you deal with a lot of high net worth individuals. Well, but a lot of these it's the mind fuck. I hear a lot of these low net worth individuals that I know don't have a dime in the stock market talking about, well, at least the market's doing okay or this or that. Why do you give a fuck?
Well,
You don't have a dime in it.
Give a fuck. I mean, yeah, it's bounced up, but I mean, I'm.
But I'm just saying they don't need to be worried about what the Dow Jones is trading at when they don't have a dime in it.
The Dow Jones is just an index. I mean,
I know.
No, I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm trying to make the TIZZ fam understand what the Dow is, an index. So is the S&P.
Yes. It's the biggest companies in America. It's an index.
Is it 500 companies or is it 100? The Dow.
What's that? No, it's less than that. I thought it was
like 100.
No, that would be like that. That'd be the S&P 500 or whatever. Whatever. But it's the 30 largest companies in America.
Okay, that's right.
Average. But anyways, my point is like you get these Main Street people who are not Wall Street, right? They don't have money in the market. And if they do, it's like a couple $1,000s, right? And they look at the market as an indicator of how they're doing, how their Main Street economy is doing. The Main Street economy is taking a giant shit, and the Dow Jones will follow eventually, no matter what. But it's like people get this weird connection to looking at this number on a screen that actually doesn't mean anything in their life.
Well, because they don't understand it. And the thing is like, yeah, we're back up to like what Dow's at like 24,000, but I guarantee
24.5.
So I guarantee. Well, I can't guarantee it, but I'm very confident that it's going to drop again.
Yeah, and I think it's going to take longer than it should, and that bubble's going to burst harder than it should have. But here's my point too: it's just all that mind fuck of like people think that this number being propped up is helping them. It's not. It's not. It's helping billionaires become even higher.
But that goes back
helping you
beyond 9/11. I mean, that goes back in like shit. I guess you could say the Roman ages, but I'm gonna use the Gulf of Tonkin as an example. Or actually, fuck it, 9/11. Okay, we saw planes hit the World Trade Centers, and we saw it. Right. Mm-hmm. And we've already talked about the whole fucking, Pentagon thing. And, what I'm getting at is Cheney, who was honestly the president, Bush just, said, okay, do it. He found every way possible to get into Iraq. And even though his intel was incorrect, they still went in, and the whole point of doing that was to keep it destabilized and sell contracts to Chevron on these oil fields. Halliburton and Lockheed Martin, the weapon company. I mean, this has gone down and down. And so I'm just curious, what is going to happen, the people behind the curtains. I mean, they're the ones who are going to make trillions, billions off this.
Yeah, and that's my point, is that like people should be rioting in the streets right now that we just spent 10% of all the money we've ever spent. And the national debt is about, I think, I don't have it in front of me, but I know it's over 20 trillion. Our national debt right now, it's about 20. I think.
And do we owe that to China, or who do we owe that to?
Japan is actually the biggest holder of our national debt, and then China. Very close though; they're neck and neck. But here's the point: is when the government spends over 10% of the national debt in one foul swoop, and then is going to spend another 10%. And none of that money's going to the people. people should be rioting in the fucking streets that we just gave, that we're planning on giving $5 trillion to.
No, I agree, and
world.
that's when potentially the looting starts, which is, fuck it, let it happen.
But people don't look at this Dow Jones and think that it says anything about how your
it's just because the Dow Jones is just it's a fund. It's not an, is it an index? No, it's a fund.
It's an index. It's an index of the top 30
companies. Right. So I mean, look, you can't. But yeah, I get what you're saying, and so.
But these Wall Street cheetahs have fooled us into thinking that as long as the Dow's okay, that we're going to be okay. It's like, no, this is a fake number on a fucking screen.
Great, the Dow goes up. So the fuck what? Yeah.
Yeah, how's your restaurant going to do? How's your little fucking company going to do?
I know. And that's what I've been trying to tell a lot of people. I'm like, oh, no, you didn't talk about your conspiracy theorists. I'm like, okay. Well, and I'm going to drop a name right now. His name starts with the first name with an R, and he likes to eat a lot of beans. And he didn't know shit. Uh-huh. He tries to school me. I'm like, dude, you don't know anything about this stuff, dude. Like, don't come at me telling me you know what you're talking about, because no, he didn't know shit.
He doesn't know. Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there like, dude, bro, just stop talking, because you don't know what you're talking about. Because what's happening is, and we talked about this in 2007 with that, whole 9/11 thing. They were trying to implement a global currency. The Amero, right? Like the euro. They're still trying to push that really hard.
Oh, this is going to push that. This is going to push that agenda way faster.
Right. Well, this has been going on for a very long time, but like this is like this is ground zero for it, in my opinion. I mean, this is where there's going to be a global shift with the people behind the curtains when it's all said and done, and there's going to be a global currency, because
the first one to go is going to be Europe.
Well, I mean, why the fuck do you think fucking Britain left?
Exactly. Now all of a sudden Brexit ain't looking so stupid anymore, is it? To all you fucking. Just like the people who are diehard conservatives are retards, so are you libtards that are just think that every fucking thing that CNN says is correct. Brexit is good.
It is.
I don't care.
No, it is.
National sovereignty. National sovereignty.
I mean, it is, and there's like 90% of Americans rely on CNN and Fox News, which is bullshit.
It's crazy. Ask the average American, okay, the same American who thinks Brexit was a right-wing conspiracy. Well, ask them if they want to convert the dollar to support Canada and Mexico's economies as well. Why don't we just share the same currency with Canada and Mexico?
I mean they would call it the Amero,
right?
And
how do you guys feel about that? I bet you about 90% of Americans would say that.
Yeah, no, 100% they would. They don't want that. But
so now imagine you're Britain. Why should they have to go with all these European countries? It makes
the euro is it has value to it. Okay. I mean, like, I'm not going to say that,
especially if you're a broke ass country like Greece,
Greece is a whole other story.
But they just get to piggyback off all
right. And that's why Switzerland is so fucking smart. I mean, they are. I mean, like they don't partake in any of this bullshit. We're going to take a quick brief break and give a shout out to our sponsors over at FNX Fit. This episode of the TIZZ Talk Podcast is brought to you by our sponsors over at FNX Fit. FNX Fit is committed to creating innovative supplements of the highest quality that provide focus for a productive morning, energy to thrive all day, performance supplements to reach new goals, unique sleep and recovery formulas to support any sport, and healthy supplements to support an active lifestyle for years to come. All of their products use natural ingredients and all their products are made within the USA. I personally have been using their Rebalance Super Green. And fam, I don't know if you've tried other greens products, but usually they're real chalky and they don't really mix well, like with the water, especially cold water. Well, their Rebalance Super Greens mix perfectly with cold water. They're kind of unlike any other I've ever tried. It's just like the right amount of sweet and has made an incredible snack replacement for me, especially, if I'm feeling groggy in the morning or, had a little bit too much to drink the night before. Just pour a little scoop of that in a glass of cold water, stir it up, put it down, and you're on your feet and ready to go, in about 10 minutes. It feels amazing. Highly recommend this product, but they have many other ones to check out. 663 million people live without clean water. That's nearly 1 in 10, fam. Nearly 1 in 10 people on the planet. They want to change that. Every time a purchase is made at fnxfit.com, a child in need receives 1 gallon of clean drinking water thanks to their partners. To date, they have donated over 265,000 gallons of clean drinking water. So go over to fnxfit.com and check out their products. They got a whole line of products from clothing to protein powders to green powders and much more. And if you want to get your TIZZ Talk 15% discount, you got to use my plug, which is fnxrelief.grsm.io/TIZZTalk. Again, that's fnxrelief.grsm.io/TIZZTalk to get your 15% off all of their products.
Here's my thought process is that you don't have to be you don't have to consider yourself a conspiracy theorist to say the coronavirus happened and all the governments of the world are using it to push an agenda. That's all there is to it. It doesn't mean that they started the coronavirus. It doesn't mean that they purposely did it, but it means that when it happened,
of course, they're going to use it to their advantage to take liberties away from us. And we're already seeing it. I mean,
I know we are. It's crazy. But think about this though. Okay, shutting down a state is a big deal. It costs a lot of people a lot of livelihood. And here was my point earlier that I didn't get to is like, okay, New York had it bad, right? And they should have shut down when they shut down because they were in the middle.
They were
stacked on
they were in the each other. It's very easy to catch this.
Yeah. But hear me out. Why did every other state shut down at the exact same time when a lot of them didn't even have many cases? There has to be an ideal threshold of when you shut down, right? It's not just a random arbitrary, well, let's just shut down willy-nilly. Each state needed to know how many people have the cases and then when is going to be our best time to shut down to stop this thing kind of in its tracks at the right time. Houston just opened up. And guess what? It just had its biggest. But okay, it's opening up. Meanwhile, it's having the biggest day.
No, I know. Cases, yeah, I saw
right?
It's
so why did Houston shut down 3 weeks?
Well,
it should be shutting down right
I'll give everybody the benefit of the doubt. It's because it's uncharted waters. They don't know.
But it came down to testing. That's where the testing. You don't.
Well, they're testing, but you just can't. I mean, not everybody's getting tested.
Not really. But they're not really testing, bro. They're doing like 10% of the testing.
Well, I know that, but
we need.
I'm not disagreeing with you to it.
If you don't test, then you don't shut down. That's
I'm not disagreeing with you to it. Because
it's like, okay, when you're young, you'd like to play spin the bottle, right? But would you play spin the bottle in complete pitch black when you don't know who you're about to?
I mean, unless it's all like some. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And that's what we're doing right now. We're just like, boom, all right, let's just shut them all down. We don't know anything that's going on. We have no idea what's going on, but we're going to shut them down at the same fucking time. And you know what? Let's all open up at the same time.
Look, I'm on the same page as you. I agree. I think the biggest problem, or the biggest concern, maybe not problem, is when they start opening up these things, is like, I'm gonna go back to the Spanish flu. Is it gonna come back with a vengeance? So that's a scary
no doubt about
thing.
that. 100% it will. And what are they going to do when it happens again? And everybody's already broke and hurting. You can't shut down again, or else
then it's over. I mean, and then guess who's the new powerhouse in the world? China.
What are we going to do when right now, right? I went out and ate, and what do? They put a fucking thermometer.
See, I haven't had to do that yet.
Right now. What are they going to do when all of a sudden a bunch of people are showing up and it's reading 100 degrees? Well, everyone's going to start freaking.
So you've been to places where they put the temperature thing, do you? Oh man, I haven't done that.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I've
been to 2 already. Yet. Yeah, so it's just mind-boggling how we're dealing with it, and it shows kind of like this is the point of the federal government, is to step in when it's something that affects every state, right? Every state is going to be affected by this. And what did we do? And states' rights are important. Don't get me wrong. States' rights are important. But if you're going to shut down the main hubs of America, then it really doesn't matter if Iowa shuts down, because they're not going to be able to do business anyway without all the main hubs open, So it's like, if you're going to shut the fucking thing, let's have a little guidance from the top. You know what I mean? Let's have a little accountability.
Trump wants everybody to open back up. I'm not,
and I just don't
saying like I'm
anything at the same time.
I'm for Trump or against Trump. What I'm saying is he wants the economy.
Of course he does, because he wants to get reelected, and that's why.
That's a good question. Do you think he'll make it to the next?
I think the Dow will still be doing okay by November, and he will get reelected. And I think as soon as he gets reelected, I think that you're going to start seeing shit hit the fan. And not necessarily because of him, but I just think that we're artificially.
Well, of course we are, because we're printing paper.
But he has pull. And that's what I meant by the Fed right now is acting more politically motivated than we've seen in the last, since I've been alive. The Fed normally tries to not play sides, right? And just do what they think's right for the
it's a family-owned entity that controls it.
But right now, Trump's got some boys in there. He's rich. He's got a little too much pull in the Fed.
That was impressive to me, because the Fed never usually budges.
No, and he's kind of making them do his will, and it's going to come back to bite everybody.
No, I know, and that's the scary part about the situation. It's like, well, I might get it back. I might just take my cash in a backpack and just go to Costa Rica.
I'm buying property. That's all I'm doing is just buying low. Guys, if you've got decent amount of money, property.
I didn't tell you about this. I closed a big deal, or a decent sized deal, and I took half my commission, and the other half I put it into equity into the building, so I get mailbox money.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
That is sick. But what you need to do if you hit another big lick, is buy a couple little low, $100,000 properties that can generate, a little bit of income, because those properties, guys, are going to hold their value and they're going to go up, because everybody needs a place to rest their head. But anything fancy,
well, that there a lot of companies are implementing this, work from home thing now.
Yes, they're not even going to need offices,
because they don't need it. And office space, real estate is like besides payroll, it's one of the most expensive things you can take on.
Yeah, a lot of overhead. It's one of your biggest overhead costs. Exactly.
Right, and so a lot of people are saying stay at home, and work from home.
Here's what's funny is you say that, and that's a shift. That's a big shift. Companies always thought that people needed to be near each other to get shit done. Well, here's the other shift, and it was already happening, but this is going to exacerbate it, is we're getting rid of mom and pop. We're getting rid of retail, which is only going to make all these internet giants much larger, much faster. I've seen an estimate that Jeff Bezos will be worth $1 trillion.
Oh, you mean BDB?
Yeah, Big Dick Bezos will be worth $1 trillion by 2026 was an estimate. And I don't believe that. I don't think he'll be worth $1 trillion by then. But there's basically what they're saying is that
trillion with a T?
A T.
No.
He could be the first on paper trillionaire by the end of the decade is what
I guess I can see that. Yeah.
Now I don't agree with it, but what I do think is that it's flooding cash into these big tech giants that don't really produce anything. They don't add anything to the world. It's basically, if you did listen to, I don't believe all the conspiracies, but I like to know what they are.
Did you watch you watch a Snowden interview with Shane Smith on Vice?
I did not, but I would like to.
It's very interesting because, I mean, you know Snowden, right?
Yeah.
So I watched it, and I don't want to ruin it for you, but what I'm going to say quickly.
No, give me the breakdown.
I mean, Snowden basically said, look, this is beyond this virus. I mean, he goes, and I don't know word for word, but he said, like, you know, these 5G towers, like, while, like, okay. There's these phases we're going through. Phase 1, we were locked down. While we were locked down, they built a shitload of 5G towers.
We've got them all over Knoxville.
They're all over Houston.
Yeah. Well, here's what people don't realize, and here's where you know that it's all fucked up. There's a lot of propaganda out there that's only out there to dismiss real theories that may have some water. The theory came out that 5G was spreading corona. That's the most retarded thing I've ever heard. I
don't believe that.
But what 5G is doing is making the interconnection of devices
so they can track you easier.
So they can track us all, man. If you
for instance, like I'm in a townhouse, right? And I want to get on my Wi-Fi, but you know, there's like 20 different Wi-Fi's that pop up, and so I'm gonna choose the one that I need to be on. But at the same time, it's like they can pinpoint you, because that's the scary thing.
And it's already happening, and now it's just going to make it easier. So if you think that Big Brother is not creaming his pants right now with all this shit going on, then you're naive. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just a fact.
No, it is. But that's the thing is I talk to a lot of people, especially like my mother and a lot of people, they rely on the mainstream media. That is that is one opinion. You can't take that and think it's true. Do your fucking due diligence, TIZZ fam.
If you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. If you watch the news,
watch it and use it as a baseline and then dig deeper.
Yeah. Well, like I said, if you don't watch the news, if you don't read the news, you're uninformed. If you do read the news, then you're misinformed.
You're misinformed, but you can use it as a baseline and be like, okay, this is what they're saying. I don't trust these motherfuckers.
If you can't watch the news and read between the lines, then you need to turn it off.
No, I mean, I wake up every morning, I turn on Fox Houston News just to see what's going on in the city before I go to work. I don't believe anything they say for the most part, but what I'm getting at is basically, it's frustrating for me to even say it, because all they're doing is just diarrhea of the mouth of the
pushing agendas. They're pushing
yeah.
agendas.
They want you to continue to watch your show.
Well, yeah, and not only that though, but they want you to think about things how they want you to think about them. They're not just reporting the news. Here's what happened. What do? They tell you who fucked up, why it's bad for you, this, that, and the other. And it's all meant to drive you to a certain thought process, you know. And it's every time I see a news story, I'm thinking, why are they telling me this? What are they trying to make me feel? Why are they, you know, what is the point of this news story? It's never just to give me news. It's always to make me feel a certain way about something. And if you're watching the news and you're not thinking that way, then you're probably getting brainwashed.
I agree with that. And dude, I mean, TooWoke. I mean, think about this. The fucking news outlets. I mean, all this stuff, they're gonna spit whatever they want. And if they don't spit what they're supposed to say, they get fired.
Exactly. They're still the people pulling the same strings in the government are the same ones telling the media what to push. You know?
No, I mean, I'm well aware of this stuff. I mean,
and so people, it's like, come on. And the coronavirus is a perfect storm. It's a real convenient thing for all these people.
Oh my God! And it just so happened to happen during an election year.
And it affects everybody, and it makes people think. And it makes people shut down their brain to say that anything you're talking about the coronavirus, you're saying that who cares? And that's not what we're saying. We're saying that people could die and you should take it seriously.
Well, my mom has MS. So
don't just blindly follow what the news
No. My mom has MS.
Yeah, so you take it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I'm terrified to go around her just in case I got the Rona. You know.
Exactly, and that's sad.
But I did. I went around her, and everything's cool. I mean, she has a slight case of it, but I mean, that's the fucked up thing. It's like, you know, you could have it and not know it, and then you're hanging out with your family member who has, you know, an underlying condition that's quite dangerous. And it scares me to be around my mother because, I mean, I don't think I have it, but I don't know because it takes 10 to 14 days to find out.
Exactly. And so it's just fucked up, man. I think that, like, what this is doing is just pushing everybody to be a fucking slave of go get a job and work for a
this is the start of the new world order.
The independent man who runs his own business is going to be a thing of the past. If this type of shit continues, you're going to have to go put your monkey suit on and work for one of the big boys if you want anything. That's what it's going to be.
No, I agree. I mean, most of my clients have laid off a tremendous amount of people.
Yeah, and the thing that's really sad about it, man, is that, I mean, restaurants are not going to come back from this, man.
No, anything that's hospitality or, like, you know, hotels or anything, and they're suffering so bad that no, they're not coming back.
They opened up. People think, oh, it's good. The restaurants are open up. Go to one of them. I've been going out to eat. And you know what? There's like 10% of the normal traffic in there. They can't sustain that. It's actually probably cost them more.
It was a Chinese restaurant?
They probably no, it's real nice restaurants around Knoxville. It probably costs a restaurant more to try to service 10% of their normal base than it does just to be closed.
No, I know. When you're at 25%, it's like, I mean,
because you've got now you're still paying electricity, you're paying for food that you're probably wasting because you don't know how much.
And that's why Benji's, where I used to work, they shut down.
Did they? Really?
No. They're gonna come back, but they shut it down for the time being because it's like it doesn't make sense for them to stay open because they got.
We're gonna be eating in little plastic cubes when we go out to eat. That's what I see coming, and it's fucking sucks, man. Like this shit is lame, man. Like I just can't even. It's sad, bro.
Well,
Like
it's
this is
uncharted
like,
waters. We've never seen this. I mean, like, and I feel like it's our duty to, look. I think let. Sorry, I'm stumbling. What I'm trying to say is these are the opportunities for us to go in and win business. Because, if they're hurting, and I'm talking on residential, but if they're hurting
commercial,
and they want some capital back, okay, well, let's do a sale lease back. I'm sorry, an investment purchase. I have a buyer lined up, and this, that, and the other. And so we were talking about this morning, and they're going to get back to me tomorrow. But I mean, it's 175,000 square foot Class A building in Sugarland. And
and again, you're right, but that only works as long as the economy's still
right. I mean, that's the thing is we're all waiting.
We're going to give a quick shout out to our other sponsors over at Anchor.
Because who the fuck wants a building? Period.
Well, it's not an empty building. It's got a 10-year lease on it.
Sure. No, I hear you, but I'm just saying, like, say shit hits the fan here, nobody's gonna be buying anything.
No. I mean, goddamn, I hear you.
It's fucked, and I see it coming. And like you said, if they're pushing for global currencies or at least regional ones, and doing all these things, the only good that'll come out of it is they'll legalize weed just to get everybody to chill out a little bit. But
what, in Texas? Come on, get out the fuck out of it.
Everywhere. I think it.
I mean, in Harris County, they've implemented the if you have under 2 ounces and you're honest about it, you'll get off.
I think you will see marijuana on some federal voting within the next 8 years due to coronavirus.
I agree with that.
Because money's hurting, businesses aren't opening. Well, the only businesses that are going to open and do halfway decent are going to be marijuana, because people will still go out. They'll go buy weed. And that'll be the only growth. I mean, it's the only industry that will be growing if shit really languishes the way that it may,
No, I mean,
So
100%. I hear you on that, and it's so true. I mean, it gets so frustrating sometimes. Like I'm like, looking at this database, I'm like, dude, just move here. It's gonna be better than that.
Imagine this. Imagine you're a cow, okay, but you have the brain of a human, right? And you're stuck in a feedlot, and you're just looking around trying to tell all these other fucking dumb cattle, we need to get the fuck out of here. This shit is bad, man. Like we're headed for some bad shit, and nobody's listening. That's what it feels like right now.
Look, guys. I mean, I know your lease isn't in for a year, but I call it asset monetization, meaning basically you can do whatever you want. I mean, and I don't know all the details of that other lease, but what I'm getting at is force majeure is an act of God or an act of, whatever religion you believe in.
Nature, just nature, yeah. But I mean, people are so complacent right now. They think things are just going to get back to normal and it's not going to hurt their bank account. I deal with a lot. My broker's one of them. Oh no, things are going to be good. The economy's going to do fine. We're good here in Knoxville. It's so safe.
I mean, it's going to turn around. We just don't know when.
Exactly. And that's my thing is like a lot of these rich folks are still buying houses like it's going out of style. And I'm like, this same motherfucker's going to be broke in 2 years, I think. Because they can't afford a downturn, and they don't even. It's not even entering their mind.
He bought a yacht or a boat or something.
people are just spending money right now like everything's normal, is what I'm saying. Like most people that have good upper middle class or lower upper class, they think that shit's sweet right now. I'm telling you, they don't understand that they could lose their job just because you're the CFO or the fucking. You could lose your job in the next year. We'll see, but these people are in la la land that think that the economy
they're stuck in the monopoly game.
They are, and that's what I mean right now. It's like I feel like a cow with a human brain in a fucking slaughterhouse saying, "You idiots are just walking towards this shit thinking it's all good, listening to what the fucking boys on the news tell you one way or the other, and it ain't. The agendas go way past COVID."
Did your phone just give you a signal saying that the broadcast stopped? Okay.
No.
I heard a sound.
That was myself. That was my laptop.
Okay, so usually they give us 10 minutes to cut it off, but we're already at an hour and 28 seconds, which we'll probably cut it here in a second. But I just didn't know, like, the way they're implementing things. Like, Pasadena is crazy. What's going on right now?
What's going on?
I mean, I just closed a huge deal over there, and now an interesting thing is my sister's ex-boyfriend Joe. He's a great guy, but Kelly broke up with him because he said he didn't want to get married again. And Kelly was like, "Well, I don't know if I can be with you because I do want to get married again." And I was like, Kelly, that motherfucker's gonna change his mind. Just take
just roll with it. Yeah, he just wants to. He doesn't want to feel the pressure. He just wants to do it on his own.
Well, apparently she wasn't pressuring it to him. He just said it to her. But people come around and they. I said, Kelly, look, you might say that now, but I guarantee you, in the next 4 months, he's gonna be on his knees and be like, "Okay, I'll have a kid."
Yeah.
Well, okay, I could be wrong, but that.
Houston, I'm worried about Houston. I mean, oil prices.
Well, I mean,
this shit.
Tony, what do you think about the negatives?
What do you mean? The negative futures? Yeah, I mean, that was insane, man. And that's not gonna, and that's what people aren't getting is like, it's not about working. It's not about like, oh, we'll work our way out of this. When fucking futures of oil are negative and food are going to be thrown away because there's not enough people buying it, that all drives the price of all of these fucking items to zero. Okay, nobody makes money when you can't sell a chicken for $1. You know what I mean? Like, it don't matter. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter.
No, I just thought
they're
that
throwing
was a
away.
funny way to explain it.
They're shooting pigs in the head and just leaving them. They don't know.
No, I know. I mean, look. Like I keep reading, look, that we've never dealt with any. I mean, 100.
Especially in this soft modern era, you know what I mean? People are soft these days, and they're gonna have to.
Well, they better fucking toughen the fuck up, because they're gonna lose if they don't.
Exactly, but these commodities are going down fast, man, and it's gonna be rough for almost every.
Well, I think it could straighten out, but I think it's gonna take till like 2022.
I think that the more it has to straighten out, the more all that means is that we dumped more and more money into the problem, which is going to make, like you said, the dollar get. There's no solution.
There is not, because nobody's ever witnessed before it. Who's alive?
Yeah, so I think you're either going to save the economy somewhat, but you're going to crush the dollar in the meanwhile. And that's why, I have to give people
meanwhile,
credit.
it's already down. Like the dollar value is down by 30%.
Folks, it's a fine line, but when you're having to bring a suitcase to the grocery store full of cash just to buy food, and the groceries went up 8% last month. That's the highest increase since
I know,
like
and that was the biggest
1971.
point. Is like, most people are not making as much money, and when they go to the grocery store, I mean, everything's like, tacked up by 15% or something like that.
They're gonna feel it.
And
it's like Peter Tosh said, the poor man feels it. I mean, and that's what's gonna happen.
Poor man feels it. I like that. No, I just think it's wild, but that doesn't mean that like it's over. Like, I'm talking to several clients right now, and like they're ready to make some moves. I've been talking to Chase. Damn it, the guys that own Chase, Cooper. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say that? My dad owned it for a while, and then he got rid of it, and they sold this other company, and they called me, asked if I could help, and I said, yeah, and I sent them information, and they're gonna, well, I mean, I'm not asking them for a representation letter, but these guys are good at their word. They know, they've known my dad forever. They're not gonna screw me over.
So they see positive possibilities.
Well, I mean, I'm the only real estate guy in the room.
I think only the big dog.
So when I'm the only real estate guy in these big ass meetings, I mean, I don't have any competition, and Houston's been banned.
We may be talking about oil companies in 20 years, like they talked about typewriters after the fucking computer came out.
Well, the thing is I have a really strong feeling that the computers are not going to last as long as we think they are. Well, what I mean is basically, excuse me, like, I don't think that Apple's very secretive about like their internal components, right? But I'm not digging into that. What I'm getting at is I think that whoever ends up hooking up with Kelly or doing whatever, especially if it's an older guy, he's in a wine and diner, and I mean, I'm not kidding. I mean,
but what do you mean? I'm losing the connection.
What I mean by it is the American society is going through a change, and whether it's dating or business or whatever. I mean, I hate to call it the New World Order, but
it's pushing on. It's all online.
Yeah, exactly. And like 10 years ago, like if you heard of something, like it took a couple of days to really soak it in. These days, within 5 minutes, if something happens, the whole world knows about it. Like when Kobe died.
But what do you mean exactly by the computer's not going to last? I mean, I think that this is pushing the computer to be even more.
I'm sorry. I say that again. My earphones cut out.
I think this is pushing computers to be even.
100%. I mean, look what the fuck happened with Zoom and all this shit. Like everybody's doing virtual bullshit. I mean, it's gonna change the office. It's gonna change the office market because a lot of people are just as capable of being just as efficient and professional working from home.
Yeah.
And
No, I agree.
huh?
I think they're, an hour taking a shower, shaving, getting ready, and then take another hour to get to work. I mean, that's not efficient.
Wow, there hadn't been any traffic in Houston in the past 6 weeks.
Oh, that's been nice. But I'm just saying in general, that was the lifestyle. You know what I mean?
No, it was. It was. And I think that I honestly think that I think okay. Look, here's the deal, and we'll cut it after this. I personally think that whether this was orchestrated, whether it was an accident, whether it was what it was, the global leader are going to use this to their advantage to basically, take over
the NWO agenda.
Yeah, the new world order. Hulk Hogan, let's call his ass up.
So I'm with. And it's just there's no real denying it at this point.
The problem is uncharted waters and nobody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, uncertainty.
The fucking unemployment rate is lower today than it was during the Depression,
or higher, possibly. Yeah.
I'm sorry, higher. Sorry,
Yeah.
Higher. Sorry, higher. I smoked a little bit. I smoked a little bit too much weed.
No, we all know what you meant. It's crazy that people aren't freaking out. The news is pushing this Wall Street bullshit instead of talking about Main Street. And guys, this shutdown order, I don't care if a disease only kills 1% of the people that it comes into contact with.
It's less than 1%.
It will be once we know how many people.
No, it is already. I mean, well, I guess I got to do testing and all that stuff.
Right now it's not, but that's because there's so many undocumented cases. But if something, even 1%, it's not worth fucking changing the entire fucking globe. I mean, think about countries like India where people live on like $1 a day. They're gonna starve, man. Like this shit's fucked up. Poverty.
Oh, you heard that hurricane hit that?
I know at the worst time.
No, yeah. Okay, so fact check. So remember when I said there was those that island was flooding? It was episodes back. And you go to the Maldives. I go, no. I think it's Bangladesh. Bangladesh is the capital of India. Yes. There is a circular island just southwest of India. It's called not Bangladesh. It's called Sri Lanka.
Yeah, Sri Lanka.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to tell you that one time, that they're having those flooding problems.
Yeah.
And I when it goes back to the flat earthers things, it's like, okay, well, if the Arctic is hotter and the Antarctic is colder, and you talk about a circular Earth, whatever, it's like, how the fuck? Or it doesn't make sense. If the North Pole is warmer, then the South Pole should be warmer.
Here's the deal. You just hit on a great thing. I think a lot of these crazy, ludicrous theories are only made to discount the real ones.
Well, yeah, I'll say one thing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But what I'm saying is, I watched the Flat Earther documentary. I wanted to hear what they had to say, and every fact they stated was such bullshit.
No, exactly.
Hey! The guy points. He goes, "Hey, I can see Seattle from 50 miles away." I'm like, okay, so. Why don't you talk to TIZZ? Because when he's in the air, you can see the curvature of the earth, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, but the fact that we're even talking about it discounts any other idea of any possible global, any real conspiracy gets discounted by those types of theories that are just complete bullshit. I think that a lot of
I
those
think they just do this shit for fun.
I think they put it out there to make anybody who brings up any conspiracy get lumped in with people like that.
I'm not trying to go on a flat earth tangent. The last time we had our pod, we talked about it, and I talked to Stiz, and he was like, no, I've been up in the air.
Well, I mean, it's not even debatable. That's the point. It's like, it just shows you how like people can be so stupid and convinced of anything, really.
One thing they read about is those chemtrails.
Yeah.
And he explained it to me. And I was like, so sometimes I see planes flying and there's no chemtrail, right?
Yeah, the engines aren't always.
No, that's not it. Stiz explained. He goes, have you ever been in a plane and had turbulence? I said, well, no shit. Yeah, of course I have. And he goes, well, that is called it's the unstable atmosphere. And when you fly through an unstable atmosphere, the jets come off, or the chemtrails, or whatever the fuck they want to call it. It's
condensation.
Yeah, exactly. So when you go into unstable air, it made sense to me.
Yeah,
when
you got hot and cold air, and
exactly. It's almost the same thing as turbulence.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and it's just fucking obvious. I mean, it's like, okay, go take a hot drink into a really fucking cold place. What are you gonna see? Water. You take a cold ass drink into a hot place. What are you gonna see? Fucking water. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, I know. And this idiot on YouTube was like, I'm standing 100 miles away and I can see Seattle right there. I'm like, okay. So, I mean, if you really had, if it was real, you'd be able to see motherfucking Los Angeles.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like there's so many ignorant Americans just around the world, but Americans can be so stupid sometimes. Like they just don't understand. I'm not talking about me and you. I'm talking about just the idiots out there.
Well, yeah, it's just so much double standard. Ask the average Trump supporter who says fuck socialism. Well, did you throw away your $1,200 check, or did you keep that fucking thing?
I fucking kept that motherfucker, dude.
Well, that's fucking socialism. So,
I mean, I know it's socialism, but I mean, it's. I'm not gonna throw it away.
But I'm just saying, put your money where your fucking mouth is.
On the last podcast I dropped, I said that we are going into a socialism situation here. We
already are. All that money going to corporations is called socialism. That's just corporate social. It's just helping the rich. We got socialism for the rich. That's what we have.
Yeah, I know, and we discussed that. I mean, and I was talking, and everybody who was on the episode was so fucking drunk, so they didn't even know what the fuck they were talking about. But
yeah,
but I know, I know this. I mean, I know what the fuck's going on. But
yeah, man. Well, let's cut it. My phone's about to die.
But TooWoke, thanks for being on the show. I'm gonna come up with a creative name for this. I'll figure it out. But
well, my final thought is, guys, question everything. And when you think about coronavirus, it doesn't mean that you don't have to give a fuck, but question when we're doing things. Why did we shut down when we did? Why did we reopen when we did?
Question everything.
If it was so important, why the timing is all fucked up? And why? There's no testing. So what do you even know? You're just taking shots in the dark.
No, I agree, and I agree. TIZZ FAM,
And
TIZZ FAM, question everything. Don't rely on fucking CNN and Fox News. Okay, use it as a baseline, and then go do your own due diligence. Because if you don't do your own due diligence, you're just a fucking typical stupid 90% of Americans who fucking rely on the mainstream media. You want to believe one source, or do you want to, use it as a baseline and dig deeper? Because I'm not going to listen to the. I mean, I don't trust them. I do my own due diligence, and I'll leave it at that. TooWoke, give your piece out, and I'll give mine. And this is the great show. I'll edit. I'm not gonna. I really don't think we really need to edit anything out. I just need to come up with a good name for the show.
No, I think it was a good show. I think that that's it. You hit it on the head. Just question everything, guys. Don't
always question everything, because you can't trust what they're telling you.
And don't take your biases and not listen to what people say. I love listening to people I don't agree with, because you need to learn to walk in their shoes. And some people are going to listen to what we said, and they're going to say, "Oh, they don't believe coronavirus is a big deal, and they don't think there should be social distancing." That's not what we're saying.
Well, why do you think I watched the Flat Earth documentary just because I wanted to know what these motherfuckers were talking about? Like I wanted to understand their side of the
point of view. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a flat earther, but I wanted to know why that they think that the Earth is flat. And okay, all right. So listen, TIZZ FAM, listen to TooWoke. Just listen. Don't rely on the mainstream media. Like, use it as a baseline, and then go do your due diligence on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And
all right, TIZZ FAM. Well, TooWoke got cut out here at the very end, but he had some good advice, and I hope you guys listen to everything we say and, do your due diligence. There's a bunch of crazy stuff going on in the world right now, and everybody needs to be really informed and not informed by the fake media or the mainstream media, because it is a bunch of bullshit, and I'm tired of saying that. I know I've said it a ton of times on the show. But anyways, TIZZ FAM, thanks for listening. As I always say, please go and do your duties. Please tell at least 1 or 2 people about this podcast a week, and go on Apple Podcasts and give us 5 stars and leave a review. It'd be very, very, very nice of you to do so. Yeah, again, thanks for listening to the show. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. We're going to continue to keep dropping these things. I'm really stoked to be on episode 25, and we're going to continue to drop them. So with that being said, as the TIZZ always says, don't do anything stupid like the TIZZ has done in the past. Get your mind correct. Okay, you got to get your mind correct, people, especially in these times. And when you get your mind correct, keep your mind correct, because that's the hardest part, keeping your mind correct. And on the last thing, the TIZZ doesn't ask why. The TIZZ asks, why not? That's it for me. And TooWoke, we are out. See you next time. Thanks for listening.
TIZZ Talk Podcast.